Yeah, we're good. Okay, amazing. So, well, Hashem, welcome everybody. This week's parasha, we're going to speak about this week's parasha. It's a fascinating parasha. There's just so much going on. There's so much. Mamash, I don't know if we're going to be able to cover everything, but we're going to have to cover the main big points. We're in Shemot. That's why we're in Shemot. So very interestingly, before we get to Shemot, we're going to have to speak about Parashat Vayigash, and we're going to have to speak about Parashat Vayichi, and then we're going to have to speak about Shemot. But very little about Vayigash and Vayichi. We're going to speak about Klei Yakar in Vayigash, and in Vayichi there's going to be a pasuk, very interesting pasuk. Okay, here we go. So So in Parashat Vayigash, to be exact, I don't know exactly the pasuk. It says over there that Yosef put the brothers in Eretz Goshen. When they came to the brothers came to Israel, finally Yosef, he admits that I'm Yosef. Is my father still alive? He puts his brothers. He gives them a place to live in Mitzrayim, and that place was Goshen. Okay, it was where Ramses, the city of Ramses, where they built Pitom and Ramses. Everybody knows those cities that Paro made the Jews built. So that's where he sent them, to Goshen. And it says over there that Vayeshev Yisrael beretz Mitzrayim. It says beretz that the Bnei Israel Vayeshev. What is Vayeshev? They settled. So now I don't understand. I know that they settled. You told me before that Yosef put them in Eretz Goshen. He gave them a place to live. So why are you telling me Vayeshev Yisrael beretz Goshen Mitzrayim? They settled. It's superfluous. I would say it's extra. Says over there the Klei Yakar. He says, I told Avram, I didn't tell him that you're going to be settled in Mitzrayim. When Hashem told Avram that there's going to be the esclavement, when there's going to be the, how do you call it? Slavery. The slavery, he said, it was already known, it was the Nevuah. However, he said, Ki ger yeh zaracha be'eretz lo lahem. He says that they're going to be gerim. What is gerim? A stranger. They're going to be strangers in a land that's not theirs. They're not going to be settlers in a land that's not theirs. They're going to be strangers. And what happened? They made it settled. They made that they were settled. Says the Klei Yakar, since they took advantage of the land of Mitzrayim and they started saying, well, people, it's hard to live in Eretz Israel now. Shh. It's hard to live in Eretz Israel. However, when you come out of, it's hard to live there. When you come out, you live in America and Canada, you buy a house for much cheaper, you have much more comfort. So it says over here, the same exact thing happened. They were living in Eretz Israel. However, when they came out to Mitzrayim, they came as strangers, and then they got comfortable, and they became they became a whole nation over there in Eretz Goshen. So for that reason, they got punished. For that reason, that they were settled, they got punished because they were punished with slavery because they settled. They settled in a place where they were not supposed to be settlers. They settled in a place where they were supposed to be. It's okay. They settled in a place where they were supposed to be strangers, and that was the problem. That's why they have this slavery. Now, of course, we know that there's many issues, there's many reasons why there was a slavery, but however, each thing adds, each point adds a reason to why there's the slavery. Okay. And then the Parashat Vayichi, it says like this. Yosef tells the brothers, before he dies, that Pakod Pakad Etri. When when you guys are gonna come down, you can be enslaved. Yosef tells them. However, when you're gonna come out, pakod pakaditi. He tells them, listen carefully to these words. Pakod pakaditi, and pakod ifkod elukim etchem. That's what he tells them. And you're gonna have to take my bones from Mitzrayim, and you can bring them with you when you leave Mitzrayim. That's what he tells them in Parashat Vayechi. Very good. That's the two introductions. Now let's hit Shemot. Let's talk about Shemot for a second. So in Parashat Shemot, we're going to start with talking about who's the actor in Parashat Shemot. Anybody can answer this question? Who's the acteur principal? No? Benny? L'acteur principal de Parashat Shemot. James Bond? Who? Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay, Moshe Rabbeinu. Okay? He was the big actor of this book. In other words, what happened? Paro was gozer. Paro made a decree that every baby has to be thrown to the Nile River. Right? They have to be thrown, they have to be killed, and they have to be thrown in the river. Moshe Rabbeinu was born, and he was born at 6 months old. And it was a nest that he was born at 6 months old. In order for that, when Mitzrayim used to keep track, they would come in. Listen, it's possible. In the Gemara, the 3 months preemie. In the Gemara, born in the 7th month is no good. It's like the kid doesn't have a chance. He's born before, he has a chance. Or he's born after, 6 months into the thing. Oh, he thought he was born 6 months old. No. No. Okay, it's like this. So like this, guys. So what happened? What would happen was the Mitzrim, the officers would go into each house. They say, "Oh, this one just became pregnant. Okay, now we have to start counting 9 months. We're gonna come back into 9 months, and we're gonna take the baby." However, with Moshe Rabbeinu, he was born it was a nes. Hashem made it. He was born at 6 months, and that day, in order for what? In order for the Mitzrim, they know that they have until 9 months to come. However, made it that he was born 6 months, and they wouldn't annoy the mother, Yocheved. No, he was perfect. That's why. Yes, she had to see. Vaya kitov. It says over there. Vaya. They saw that he was good. What does it mean? They saw good. Exactly. They were checking to see maybe he had problems, and he saw no. It was nest, and he was good. That's a good point. Okay, so let's keep going further. So the mother Yocheved hid Moshe Rabbeinu for 3 months, and so Moshe Rabbeinu, we know his birthday. It's what? Who can tell Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday? Zayin Adar. Everybody knows Zayin Adar. This is the month of Adar, okay? But Zayin Adar, the 7th day of Adar. And then what happened? His mother tried to hide him for 3 months, because after 3 months, we know that the Mitzrim, the officers, are coming into the house and keeping track of who's born. 9 months. It says in the Torah, she saw that she couldn't hide him anymore, and she put him inside the basket, into the Nile River, in order to show that, because they know that the Savior was going to be hit by water, was going to be like, punished with water. And really, what the story with Moshe Rabbeinu is that he was punished with the Mimiriva, which is later on with the rock. So they thought it was like this. Anyway, so she was able to fool them, and she was Moshe Rabbeinu was put in the Nile River. That's Moshe Rabbeinu. What day was that? What day? Listen carefully. What day was it that the Moshe was put in the Nile River? 3 months after Zayin Adar, which is Vav Sivan. Adar, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. Adar, Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. Okay? 3 months. No. Adar, Zayin Adar to Adar, Nisan, Zayin Nisan. That's 1 month. 1 month. Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. Okay, so that's exactly 3 months later. Exactly 3 months later was Vav Sivan. Anybody know what day is Vav Sivan? The day of Matan Torah. Beautiful, huh? The day of Matan Torah. Beautiful. We receive the Torah. Shavuot is Vav Sivan. The day we receive the Torah. So this was the day that Moshe Rabbeinu was saved. And this was the day that Yocheved put her. It was 3 months exactly after the birth of Moshe Rabbeinu. But I guess you can, sometimes, it goes back. Yeah. Hein? Dans le Moïse. Le Moïse? Dans le basket. Ouais, le basket. Alors, very good. Exactly. But Paro. Yeah. The daughter. Exactly. That's exactly what happened. So what day was that? That was Vav Sivan. That was the day of Matan Torah. Now we see right away Moshe in Moshe's birth is the day of Matan Torah. Now what happens next? Batya, she's coming down. Okay, guys, just give me some. Batya, the daughter of Paro, is coming down to wash up herself in the Nile River, and then she sees this boat floating, and Batya says, "Well, we have to get her." She stretches her hand. We all know the story. She tries. A miracle happens, and it was outstretched. Her arm went and was able to reach the baby, the basket. And from that, Batya calls Moshe Rabbeinu Moshe. It's really an Egyptian name. Moshe Rabbeinu comes from an Egyptian woman. Okay? Batya, the daughter of Paro. And Moshe Rabbeinu had many other names. So why did we choose to say Moshe's name? This. So listen carefully. Minamai mishitu. She says, because from the water I pulled him. Moshe means to pull. Moshe means to pull. However, if Batya would have called Moshe Rabbeinu based on the past event, she would have called him pulled, like a like he was a pulled person. He was pulled out of the water, pulled. Like, well, how would you say? It would be mashui, mashui, b'lashon hava. However, we know that Moshe Rabbeinu, everything was significant by him, and the significance of him being pulled out of the water. He was born with his essence that he's going to be pulling other people out of tzarot. He was born with this tafkid, this how do you call it? This purpose, that his role was to pull others out of the water, pull others out of the tzarot. That's why she called him Moshe, which is a present tense, which means to pull out. So therefore, he was called Moshe. And then what happens? Moshe grows up in the house of Paro. Moshe grows up in the house of Paro, and he becomes second to the king. Okay, that's how great Moshe becomes. Like Yosef, but he becomes like Moshe. He was, of course, he was very intelligent. He was born with a beautiful light, so that means he was something godly already. But he was growing up in the royal palace, and all of a sudden one day he decides to come out. The Torah records the story. He was around 12 years old. He comes out and he sees, what is the first thing he sees? He sees a guy beating up another guy. First the Torah says, "Vayal b'sivlotam." Moshe Rabbeinu comes out and he says, "Vayal b'sivlotam." Moshe Rabbeinu was a prince. He didn't have to go out and see his other brothers. He didn't have to go on, and he wasn't kilu in the rut. Moshe Rabbeinu says, Rashi, Natan enav liot metzar aleim, to feel their pain. That means Moshe Rabbeinu was in high stature, and he took off his nice clothing. He went in his sweatpants and his sweatshirt. He's like, okay, let's go. We have to help out. He starts taking bricks. He's crying about their pain. And this guy, imagine, he's living a pure, amazing life in his mansion, and he's coming out voluntarily just to see the pain of his brothers and to see to see what they're going through. He wants to feel his brothers. That's what it says. Natan inav. He went to see exactly what was going on with the Bnei Israel. He wanted to feel, wanted to be with them in their pain, even though he didn't have to. And he was there. And what happens? He sees a Mitzri. He sees a Mitzri beating up a Jew to death. He sees this Mitzri, and he says, you know what? This guy has to die. We have to kill him. And killing a Mitzri without being, it's pretty dangerous. You could get on Paro's bad side. But he didn't care. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't care. He goes and he kills him. And he hopes that nobody sees anything. However, he takes the risk. And then next day we know that the two Jews were fighting, and the two Jews said, "Oh," and Moshe Rabbeinu says, "Rasha, lama takirecha." Hey, why are you hating your brothers? And they say, "Oh, you're going to kill me like you killed the other guy yesterday." And they said, "We're going to go tell on you on Paro." And the two Jews told on Moshe Rabbeinu to Paro, and he said, "Voila, Paro." And Moshe Rabbeinu he's killing Mitzrayim. He's against you and this and that. Paro says, "Okay, we have to kill him." They take Moshe. They bring him to Paro's, how do you call it? This place where they kill people, the guillotine, I don't know what. They put him in the guillotine, nothing happens. He breaks the sword. Moshe Rabbeinu breaks the sword. That's what happened. 10 times, back and forth, 10 times. They were like, okay, that's it. I'm not going to waste my guillotines on this dude. What happens? Hashem made a nest. There was a doppelganger. They made, there was a malach that became like Moshe, took the form of Moshe. They thought they had Moshe. Moshe ran away, and that was it. That's how the Midrash explains it. And yes, after if you can, you could wait. Okay, so Moshe Rabbeinu runs away. Where does he run away? To Midian. Midian, he finds over there Yitro. He sees 7 girls being attacked. 7 girls being attacked by shepherds, by other male shepherds. Why were they being attacked? Because Yitro over there was the high priest. He wanted to do tshuva. He said, okay, I don't believe in all this avodah zarah. What am I going to do? I'm going to do tshuva. And he made an excuse. He was the high priest. Imagine, he was the highest, like avodah zarah, whatever you want to call it. He said, that's it. I'm done with this. And he stepped down. He was saying, no, it's not for, I'm too old, maybe take someone else. And they put him in cherem. They didn't like that. They put him in cherem. They put him in this excommunication. They didn't like him, and they were attacking his daughters. the whole city was it was a balagan. Moshe Rabbeinu sees that the shepherds were attacking Yitro's daughters. Why were they attacking Yitro's daughters? Because your daughters were out. No, but why they were out of the well? They were doing this. They were being the shepherds for the flock. But why didn't he get boys? Why didn't he hire people? Nobody wanted to work for him. They excommunicated Yitro. So he only had girls. Use girls. And he used these girls. And Moshe Rabbeinu sees that the girls are being attacked. Some people say that Moshe Rabbeinu saw they were drowning in the ocean. And Moshe Rabbeinu went to save them one by one. Tak, 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 tak. And he would have. But there was there's midrashim, there's stories. You have to know. There's things that there was a well, of course, but there was a lake, and they were drowning. These shepherds were attacking the daughters of Yitro, and Moshe Rabbeinu comes right away, and he saves them. I don't know if you read. Okay, guys, I really can't do this when you're 1 second. I don't know how you're doing it. I can't do it. No, but who saved them? Moshe, but who else? Saving everybody. Yeah, Moses Dafer. Okay, so what happens? So what do you see from all this? What do you see from Moshe Rabbeinu? You see very clearly Moshe Rabbeinu sees that there's something wrong. He sees pain. He sees that there's a problem. He goes and he tries to fix it. He feels the situation so hard that there's nothing that can stop him, and he has to fix it. So this is what happens with Moshe Rabbeinu. He's ready to take all the risks possible in order to save the Jews, to save anybody that's bothering him. Then he marries one of the daughters of Yitro, Sipporah. He marries her, and he lives there. Okay? Now, what happens? One day Moshe Rabbeinu goes, and he becomes the shepherd of Yitro, and he takes the shepherd, he brings them to where? Inside the desert. And over there in the desert, he finally sees one of his flock runs away. One of his little sheep starts to run. And then Moshe Rabbeinu runs after this little sheep, sees that the sheep found a little water puddle or something like that, starts to drink. So Moshe, what did he say? He says, I'm so sorry, I didn't know that you were thirsty. He waited for the little sheep to drink, and once the sheep was done, he said, you must be tired, come. He puts him on his shoulders, and he brings the little sheep back to the flock. So Hashem said, that's it. I see all the signs that Moshe Rabbeinu he needs to be the leader of Klal Yisrael. Why? Because he cares about each thing. He doesn't let one go, and he cares so much. He puts him on his shoulders, everything. He says, that's it. He's going to be a leader. And therefore, there was the burning bush. There was a bush over there, and it was on Har Sinai. And why is Har Sinai called Har Sinai? From this event, because there was the sneh, as we say, the sneh, and there was the fire was burning the bush, but it wasn't getting destroyed. Go. The bush was not getting destroyed, and therefore it was important. It was a very important event, and that's why we call it Har Sinai, from this Sinai. Okay, this is the lashon. And what was this point of this Sinai? What was Hashem telling him? This was a whole. It was like a message. What was Hashem trying to tell him with this? What was Hashem trying to tell him with this burning bush? He was trying to tell him that there was the bush represents that it's a small bush. It's a small tree. Not a big tree. It's not a big tree on fire. It's a small tree. Why? To show that Hashem is the fire in the story. And he says that Hashem is coming down to see the pains of the low, which is the Bnei Yisrael that were under the Egyptian rule at the time. And Hashem is coming down to see what's happening with the Jews. That's what Hashem was telling Moshe. And Hashem was telling Moshe the same thing that you're doing, that Moshe Rabbeinu was doing. That he was putting himself in their shoes. And he was removing his own greatness. And he was thinking about someone else. That was the greatness of what Hashem was showing him. Yes, I'm doing the same too. And what was he saying? Imo anochi betzara. What does it mean, Imo anochi betzara? So we see this midah of which is called noseh be'ol. Noseh be'ol means that you're ready to take the pain of someone else on you. There's 3 levels of chesed that a person can do. There's rachamim, which is the lowest level of chesed, giving. What do you mean? When you see a poor person, you give him money. Why? Because you see he's poor, he has nothing to his name. So you're going to give him because you feel bad. So somewhat you're gaining because you don't want to be like you feel bad. So you have a feeling that you want to fill up. There's chesed that you can do even with ashiri, even with rich people, even people that don't need anything. You can still give them. That's going to be called chesed. But however, when you do chesed, you also want in the back of your head, you're thinking maybe he's gonna give me back something one day. However, noseh be'ol means that you're ready to put yourself aside, no matter what. You're ready to put yourself aside for the other, which means that you're removing your own comfort. You're removing your own comfort in order to help someone else. That's noseh be'ol. That means Moshe Rabbeinu, he was in the kingdom. He didn't have to go out. He didn't have to see his brothers. He didn't have to do nothing. However, he went, he's like, no, I have to. And he took off his royal clothing and he put himself in his sweats and he went down and he started helping them and he wanted to feel them. That's how you have to be. That's the biggest level of chesed. When you're able to remove yourself, when you have a anochiyut, we call it. The anochiyut is the self. It says, Hashem says, Imo anochi betzara. What does it mean, Imo anochi? With him, anochi betzara. My whole self is betzara. That's what you need in order to be noseh be'ol. And Moshe Rabbeinu, you see that with this midah of noseh be'ol, he went full force. He didn't care if it meant that he had to die for it. Why? Because you see, he was ready to kill the Mitzri and the risk. The power was going to catch him, and Moshe knows that his neck is going to become stone, and that he's gonna get saved. No, but he believes that this is the right thing to do. We do it, and he went full force. He went to Midian, and when he ran off to Midian, he saw the girls in danger. He attacked the guys, and he got them away. He didn't care. This is the right thing to do. You think Hashem's going to be with me? This is the right thing to do. I feel that's how much he felt his pain. Now you're going to tell me, whoa, imagine one guy against the whole city. So I want to explain to you something that I read from Rabbeinu Yerucham. He says very, very nice piece. He says that Shlomo HaMelech says, go to the ant and learn what it means to be not lazy. Go to the ant and learn what it means to be to have hope. What is the ant? What does it do? An ant is a small little thing with 3 parts. And what does it do? How much does it eat? It eats maybe a kernel and a half of wheat in its lifetime. It lives 6 months and eats a kernel and a half. And what's it doing its entire life? It takes wheat kernels and starts to store them in its house. Voilà, store. Much more, maybe 300 times more than it's able to live. That's how much food it stores. Why? Because he says, maybe Hashem's going to have rachmanut, maybe Hashem's going to have mercy on me, he's going to give me more time. He's going to give me more life. That's its whole life. He's living with hope, and he's not lazy. An ant, it's always moving. It says in the Gemara, there was once an ant that got like entire house full like of wheat kernels. There was a story like that, just to show the extremity of it. And he says that there's another story with an ant that it's so careful with not stealing with someone else that when it goes to, there was an ant that was crawling to a kernel. There was an ant once crawling to a kernel of wheat, and it was it was a kernel that was left by another ant, and there was an ant there was a few ants crawling to this kernel. They started to feel it, they smell it, they went away. Next one, same thing. They felt it, they smelled it, they ran away. They didn't take the kernel with them. All to show that they knew it wasn't their ant. They knew it wasn't their kernel. Whatever didn't belong to them, you're gonna tell me, wow, this is animals. What do they? So Shlomo HaMelech says, go to the ant and learn this stuff. Learn what is the ant capable of. That means that the ant has this koach of his rizrut, has this koach of being just not lazy, and this is whole thing that it can't help itself. This is how strong it is. It can't help itself. This is how the koach inside is so strong. This nature this is all its essence, and that's what it does. And this is what he says by Moshe Rabbeinu. Now you understand. Moshe Rabbeinu, he had this midah of noseh be'ol, which means to help someone else. He was born with that. He was born with this midah of helping someone else with what? By outstretching his hand, Moshe, to pull people out. This was his nature. It was so strong by him, he couldn't help himself. I have to help someone. I have to put myself aside. And this is the greatest midah. Why? Because where was the Torah given? On Har Sinai. How can a person get to a level of helping someone else up to the point of where he puts himself completely aside and feels the pain of his brother 100%, just to sit down with your brother and say, what's up? You have all the time in the world. I'm here for you. What do you mean? You have kids, you have a job, you have a 212, you have a 514, you have 438, you have everything you want, No, but you go to your friend and say, what's wrong? You go to your friend and you say, Habibi, what's wrong? Tell me. You have something? You have anything? I can help? On the side, on the side, in order to help someone else. This is the point. Listen carefully. Shh. This is the point of the Torah. This is the point of the Torah. This is the point of the Torah. The point of the Torah is to make achdut. The point of the Torah, and Moshe Rabbeinu, it's not for no reason that he was saved on the day of Matan Torah. It's not for no reason that he had his appointment with the Kadosh Baruch Hu at the Sinai, which was on Har Sinai, showing him the midah of Noseh Be'ol on Har Sinai, that Hashem is also carrying us in the troubles. It was not for no reason that Moshe Rabbeinu was in this, always involved in this. Why? Because the Torah, the point of the world, is that we should get to a level where we're so interconnected with each other that we're able to nullify ourselves for each other and help each other. So B'ezrat Hashem, with this known, we're able to work on ourselves. Should I go a little bit further?
Yeah.
A little bit further?
Yeah.
Okay, like this. One more, like 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, what does he tell him? Moshe Rabbeinu, they're having a conversation for 7 days. Having a conversation. Hashem says, Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, let's go. You're taking out the Jews from Egypt. Moshe says, no, impossible. I can't. I don't. I'm not the guy. You got the wrong guy. You got the wrong guy. No. What? So Moshe Rabbeinu says 2 things. He says, first of all, I'm kvad pe v'kvad lashon. I can't talk. Moshe Rabbeinu, we know he burnt his mouth, right? We're not going to see the story. It's going to take a little bit more time. But Moshe Rabbeinu burnt his mouth when he was a kid, and he had a big stutter. And number 2, Moshe Rabbeinu said, the Jews won't believe me. The Jews won't believe me. So he says, you know what? Okay, don't worry. I'm going to be with you. He says, I'll be with your mouth. Don't worry about your mouth. I'm the one. Who put the mouth to the humans? Me. I'm going to be with your mouth. Don't worry about that. Secondly, for what you did, for what you said about the Jews, that they're not going to believe you, I'm going to give you, he says, take your staff, put it on the floor. It turned into a snake. That was the first sign. You show the sign to the Jews. And second sign is, take your hand, put it inside your chest, and take it out. It was white. It was tarat. This tarat is leprosy. It's what a person gets when he says Lashon Hara. And the snake was also a sign that he said Lashon Hara, because the snake also represents Lashon Hara, because the same way that when the person says Lashon Hara, he doesn't gain from it, also the snake, when he eats, he doesn't gain from the eating. It's like he doesn't taste anything. There's no food. He lost like all sense. Like the snake is just a piece of dirt. Like he eats dirt. That's what he is. So the same way that a snake bites and he doesn't gain from it. Also, when a person bites, which means he says Lashon Hara, he doesn't actually gain from it. There's no gain. He just says it to hurt someone else. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu was accused of this. And he says, and Moshe Rabbeinu says, okay, I'm going to go to the Jews, but who am I going to say sent me? Who sent me? So Hashem says, you know who sent you? Tell them, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. That's who sent you. Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. Which means, I will be that I will be. What does that mean?
Basically, he said, I am who I am.
No, Ehyeh, I will be. I will be with what I will be. That's what he says. And this, what was this? And then he says, you know what? Ehyeh shalachani alechem. Ehyeh sent you. Tell them Ehyeh sent you. And what does this mean? So like this. Ehyeh means I will be with you. Ehyeh asher ehyeh means that whatever you do, there's going to be midah keneged midah. Ehyeh, I will be. Asher ehyeh, what you will be. What you will be with me, I will be with you. We're a mirror image. Like Hashem tzidcha yad minecha. Hashem is on your right hand. He's your shadow. You go like you turn right, he turns right. You turn left, he turns whatever. The point is, when it comes to mitzvot and avirot, you do mitzvot, you get good. You do avirot, you get bad. That's what he's saying. So mitzvah keneged mitzvah, measure for measure. That's what ehyeh asher ehyeh means. And what does it mean? Look, Moshe said 2 things. Moshe said, "I'm kvad pe kvad lashon," and he said that they're not going to believe me. So he says to Moshe Rabbeinu, that I'm gonna be with you. Don't worry. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna be with you in the tzarot, like he said by the snake. And by I'm gonna do midah keneged midah means that you see what just happened. You just said lashon hara. You get midah keneged midah. That the snake, the stick turned into a snake, and you got tzarat. So this is exactly midah. That's what he wants. When the Moshe Rabbeinu, why were the Jews able to be saved? Because they had emunah. What do you mean they had emunah? Well, you're going to tell me Moshe Rabbeinu came back from the whole Sinai, from this whole burning bush. He goes to the Jews and he says, "Oh, guys, Hashem says we gotta go." He says, "Oh yeah, who's Hashem? Who's this guy? Who did you meet?" He says, "Voila, the snake and the tzarat. That's the signs he told me to tell you. Voila, let's go. We're getting out of here." You think they believed him because of that? Why? You think they were in Mitzrayim? There was magicians all over the place, always doing it. It was common. What? What? The makot. Yeah, but they didn't do the makot yet. So only because of the emunah that they had before the makot, before everything started, that was a schut. The emunah that Hashem was going to take them out. Simple emunah. What? No, so I put out a scenario just to show is this what happened or is this something else that happened? What happened?
No, you're talking about the Bnei Israel?
Yes, the Bnei Israel were saved because of their emunah. So where they?
The three signs, didn't he show them to the elders of Bnei Israel and then the elders vouched for him?
Yeah, il est parti chez les vieux.
And then they vouched for him.
Yes.
Then that's why they followed him, technically.
So why exactly? So they followed him, but that was the emunah. The emunah came. It was not because Moshe Rabbeinu did these signs in front of them. They believed because they had this emunah that they knew that they had to come out. Why? Because when Moshe came and he said "pakod pagaditi," he said it. He was here. Moshe Rabbeinu had a stutter, and the letters of pei and letters of dalit, like kuv, those two letters are very, for stuttering people. Say it's a disaster. You don't hear what they have to say. So they're he said it pagod pagati like that, and that was a way of saying, when you're going to tell them, Hashem tells them, tell them, I'm going to be with you. What did he tell them? Means I'm going to be with you. Look, when Moshe Rabbeinu is going to say the words pagod pagati, it's a sign that Hashem was Moshe Rabbeinu. Why? Because he had a list and he was able to say these words just like that. And also, it was a known thing that when Yosef, we said in Parashat Vayechi, what did we say? Yosef says, "Pakod yivkod Elokim etchem, ve'alitem et ad motza mizeh." You're gonna itechem. Yosef says to the brothers, "Pakod yivkod." Hashem's gonna take you out with this lashon, "Pakod yivkod." And Moshe Rabbeinu came back and he said, "Pakod pakaliti." He said it with like Hashem was saying it through his mouth, and that was the first sign. The second sign was the nachash was the fact that there was measure for measure. He's telling them, don't worry, you guys are going to get measure for measure. You guys are going to get exactly your sachal, your reward, and the Mitzrim are also going to get exactly midah keneged midah, and you're going to, there's a whole Klei Hakar explaining how each makkah was measure for measure for what they did to the Egyptians. So B'ezrat Hashem, we should be able to work on the emunah, because the whole point of Yetziat Mitzrayim, the whole point of Mitzrayim was in order to receive the Torah later, Tavdun et Elokim ha'ar hazeh, on this mountain of Har Sinai. And the point of the Torah is to bring Nosei Be'ol, that each one should be connected, because Nosei Be'ol is a midah, like we said, when you take someone else's pain on you, it makes you connected with the other person. And how do you do that? But only by removing yourself. You can only remove yourself if you're anav, if you're humble. If you're not humble, you can't remove yourself from the picture. Hashem should help us.